Every single day, more than 20 million barrels of oil move across the world's oceans. But today, one ship has sent shockwaves through global politics. A Russian oil tanker seized by the United States has just pushed Washington and Moscow closer to a dangerous new line. In a dramatic escalation between the world's two biggest geopolitical rivals, the United States has seized a Russian-flagged oil tanker, triggering an immediate and fierce response from Moscow. Now, President Vladimir Putin is signaling that this move will not go unanswered, and the implications could ripple far beyond the energy market. U.S. Russia relations were already at a historic low. Sanctions, proxy conflicts, and economic pressure have defined a relationship for years. But this seizure represents something different. Unlike sanctions on paper, this was a physical enforcement action at sea, targeting what U.S. officials describe as part of sanctioned shadow fleet, moving oil in defiance of international restrictions. Russia, however, sees it as something else entirely, an illegal act, a violation of maritime norms, and a direct challenge to its sovereignty. The question now is whether this single seizure becomes a precedent for future confrontations on the world's oceans. According to officials, the tanker was intercepted after weeks of monitoring, suspected of transporting oil linked to sanctioned supply chains. U.S. authorities argue the move was lawful, aimed at enforcing economic restrictions designed to limit Russia's ability to fund its global operations. Energy analysts warn that even limited actions like this can have outsized consequences. Shipping insurance rates rise, routes change, and traders react instantly. Markets are now watching closely to see whether Russia responds by tightening its own controls or by challenging Western shipping elsewhere. This is where Putin's shocking move comes into focus. Moscow has issued sharp warnings, accusing the U.S. of crossing a red line and signaling that future enforcement actions may be met with retaliation, economic, legal, or potentially even strategic. Russian officials are framing this not just as an oil dispute, but as a test of power and influence. If the U.S. can seize Russian vessels on the open sea, what stops similar actions elsewhere? That's a message Russia wants the world to hear, and it's why global leaders are paying close attention. One seized tanker has exposed a much bigger struggle: control over global trade routes, energy security, and the rules of engagement between rival powers. Whether this incident fades or becomes a turning point may define the next chapter of U.S. Russia relations.